Welcome to my dental hygiene mini lesson using backwards design. The passage I was given is, when an object is positioned outside of the focal trough or the imaginary zone of sharpness, the object will not be imaged on the film. The natural tilt of the anterior teeth in the arches places the apices of these teeth outside the focal trough, causing tooth roots to not be imaged on the film. This phenomenon of panoramic imaging should not be mistaken for external physiological resorption or incomplete root formation. Microdontia refers to a tooth that develops at a smaller size than normal. The 5 learning outcomes I had were 1. Identify the focal trough, 2. Locate anterior teeth in their apices, 3. Explain unsuccessful focal trough placement versus external physical resorption or incomplete root formation. 4. Explain the useful terms frown or smile in regards to focal trough placement. And 5. Identify microdontia. I understand that the terms frown or smile were not in the original passage, but this was one of the ways that I really learned this focal trough placement while I was in school, so I figured it would be a good thing to throw in there. My backwards design steps. Step 1 is the learning outcome. Locate anterior teeth and their apices. I used a format similar to your own, Professor Murphy, but I switched it up a little bit, so hopefully this will be all right. Step 2 was the evidence. In order to demonstrate the student's mastery of locating the apices of anterior teeth, the student will be able to correctly label the apices of anterior teeth on a diagram or panoramic film. My first assessment example or question is that we should first know which teeth are anterior before we can label them. So in the following image, please identify the anterior teeth by placing an A over the corresponding tooth image. So for here, I would be able to have the student literally draw an A right above the teeth that were anterior. In this case, it runs the front 6 teeth are considered anterior teeth on top and bottom. The second part of this was to be able to identify on an x-ray the apices. Apices are the tips of the teeth down towards the end of the root. And really the only way to see those is on an x-ray, because from a clinical standpoint you can only see crowns of the teeth. So as in the example question 2, I would have the students please circle all anterior apices in the following images with red pencil. I kind of threw a little curveball in this one. In this first image to the left, most of these teeth are actually called posterior teeth, so there's really only one apice that's visible on this first film. But the other film to the right, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 apices, so all 6 of the lower anterior teeth you can circle an apice on. From here, step 3 are learning activities. In order for students to master the learning outcome, the students will need to study the diagrams of the teeth, specifically those that identify anterior teeth, which are, as we said, the front 6 teeth on top and bottom. And that's why I chose this image scrolling back to the top of all 32 teeth. It shows you exactly what anterior and posterior mean. And if you know the definitions of those two, then students will be able to figure it out a lot easier. And they also have to study the x-rays that show the apexes of the teeth. They should practice identifying these anterior teeth on typodonts, as well as in clinical practice with their other peers. They'll be able to, really look at the shapes of the teeth and be able to identify which ones are anterior. And then as long as they memorize the definitions of an apex, which is the singular for apices, and the definition of anterior being the front teeth and posterior being the back teeth, they should be able to master this learning outcome in no time.